Chapter 510, First Day at Sea. Amidst the billowing smoke, the flying bird cut through the Fog Sea, heading west towards the Intis colony in the Fog Sea archipelago. They were the same islands in the saying, "Never trust an islander." From there, it would journey south to Port Santa, northwest of the Fanapotter Kingdom. Though the Fog Sea was notorious for its heavy fog, the offshore areas were less affected. Lumion spent the next 3 hours under the bright sun, immersed in a book, an introductory textbook for the Fanapotter Kingdom's Highlander language. While he had Lugano, his translator and guide, Lumion didn't want to be completely reliant on him for information and communication. If anything happened to Lugano, or if he were to deliberately manipulate translations, Lumion would be vulnerable. Mastering some basic Highlander phrases before reaching Port Santa would allow Lumion to verify the accuracy of translations and give him some independence. Typically, learning Highlander in less than 10 days was nearly impossible for Beyonders not from the reader pathway. However, Lumion had a significant advantage: his knowledge of ancient Fasak, the original language from which Highlander evolved. The two languages shared many similarities in sentence structure, meaning, grammar, and word structure, allowing Lumion to learn Highlander much faster. When can dinner be delivered? Ludwig paced restlessly in front of Lumion's recliner, frustrated that the exclusive attendant hadn't yet arrived with dinner, despite the darkening sky. Lumion closed his book as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows illuminated by the kerosene lamp. With a chuckle, he said, "Blame yourself for ordering so much. They need time to cook it all. Thankfully, the first-class cabin has an independent kitchen, otherwise they'd be overwhelmed." Before he could finish, the doorbell rang. As the chimes reverberated, Lugano opened the thick vermilion door to find the young attendant pushing a dining cart into the room, its surface covered in a thick yellowish-brown carpet. Under Ludwig's eager gaze, the attendant calmly laid out the tablecloth and utensils. "This is a local delicacy, Gaddy herring. It involves marinating smoked soft herring fillets, onions, and carrot slices in olive oil, thyme, bay leaves, and other spices for 24 to 48 hours. It's perfect with warm potato salad. And these are deep-fried fries. In Upper Coastal Province, there's a saying, without fries, there's no heaven. There's also raisin cream bread. These are fresh oysters and shellfish. This is Faust turkey, ham and mushroom burrito. This is Umu's duck minced meat and coarse brown sugar vanilla waffle. This is traditional orange cheese, and there's also a pungent gray cheese. Would you like to give it a try? This is Upper Coastal Province's favorite apple cider." Lumion listened with genuine interest as the attendant described each dish. He noticed that, despite his impatience, Ludwig didn't immediately attack his food. Instead, he waited patiently until the attendant finished before sampling the pre-meal bread and savoring the pickled herring. Did something awaken in him? Lumion glanced at the child in confusion. "Not bad," Ludwig remarked with a professional air. "The smoky taste is just right. It blends perfectly with the fragrance and seasoning." Despite his praise, 7-year-old Lumion couldn't help but find the whole scene with Ludwig's chubby, youthful face and serious demeanor comical. Port Gaddy, being near the sea, boasted excellent seafood. The oysters and other shellfish were not only tastier than most restaurants in Trier, but also considerably cheaper. Lumion sipped his brewed apple cider, enjoying the unique local flavors. With Ludwig's impressive appetite, the 8-person dinner soon ended, leaving only clean plates and bones behind. Lumion and Lugano, despite not being small eaters themselves, found themselves dwarfed by Ludwig's consumption despite eating 2 servings each. This was especially impressive considering he'd already devoured afternoon tea and dessert earlier. "I don't see you visiting the washroom often. Where does all the food go? Do you have a bottomless pit for a stomach?" Lumion mused, sizing Ludwig up. He stood up and turned to Lugano. "I'm feeling for a drink. Want to join me at the ship's bar?" "I didn't catch a wink last night. Plan to hit the hay early today." Lugano couldn't wrap his head around his employer's boundless energy. Despite a sleepless night and a full day of travel, Lumion buzzed with life, ready to hit the bar. Could it be because his sequence is higher? The kid with the odd appetite looks pretty charged too. Lumion didn't extend an invite to the translator. After leaving a late-night snack for Ludwig, he swapped into a plain dark brown jacket and left the room, heading for the first-class bar. The bar oozed elegance, filled with the soft tunes of a small band. Sparse patrons scattered around, soaking in the quiet atmosphere. Lumion scanned the scene for a moment from the entrance, then shook his head and exited. He descended the stairs to the deck, slipping into the bar serving third-class cabins and the regular crew. A chaos of noise, shouts, cheers, claps, and random singing saturated the air, echoing around Lumion. He instantly felt a sense of homecoming. A wave of ease washed over him, and every cell in his body kicked up a notch. That's more like it. A seasoned regular at the All Tavern from a young age, Lumion swayed a bit as he edged up to the bar counter. A glass of La Fée Verte, he thumped the wooden surface. The bartender, a young man with Faina Potter features, greeted Lumion. His face was slim, adorned with black hair, eyes, and distinct contours. His slightly yellowish skin highlighted his appealing facial features. "All right, 10 licks," the bartender replied in Intijan, his foreign accent apparent. The ship's prices trumps even those in Trier, as Lumion counted out the coins. He noticed the bartender divert his attention and engage with sincerity and enthusiasm. "Madame, what would you like to drink?" "A glass of cherry wine," a lady in a thick yellow dress responded, showcasing a pretty face and light green eyes. "All right," the bartender, not seeking payment up front, prepared to serve the lady. "I was here first," Lumion reminded the bartender with a smile. Without hesitation, the bartender replied, "This is such a beautiful and dazzling lady. My heart tells me to serve her first." Oh, he's truly from Faina Potter, Lumion didn't get upset. Instead, it felt like he was watching a circus act. Fainapotterians, with their romantic nature and relentless pursuit of love, placed their faith in Earth Mother, emphasizing the importance of women. Men in this kingdom would praise any woman they encountered, openly pursuing those they fancied. Auror had once mentioned that Faina Potter's men were masters of country romance. Despite their mushiness and overt sincerity, they didn't come off as cheesy. Rather, they exuded a different kind of elegance. In comparison, the romantic Intijans seemed lacking. However, influenced by tradition and faith, most Fainapotterians placed great importance on family, reproduction, and children, preferring settled family lives. Unless entering marriage without coercion, they were akin to the conservative Lonese, finding it challenging to accept extramarital affairs. While exceptions existed, even in the most conservative Lone Kingdom, the prevalence of adultery wasn't as exaggerated or common as in Intis. Many believed that love didn't necessarily thrive within the confines of marriage. After the lady settled her tab and departed with the cherry wine, the bartender served Lumion La Fée Verte, garnishing it with a mint leaf. He remarked without a trace of guilt, "My grandmother always said to give special treatment to every lady, especially the beautiful ones." "I get it." Lumion slipped back into his role as a regular at All Tavern. Sipping his absinthe, he concocted a tale. "I once had numerous beautiful companions, even more stunning than the last lady. Unfortunately, being just one person, I couldn't marry them all simultaneously." The bartender suddenly felt a camaraderie. "I often feel the same regrets. There are too many beautiful women in this world, and I'm just one person." "What's your name?" "Louis, just call me Louis." Lumion provided his alias. His current identity was Louis Barry. "I'm Francesco," the bartender shared with Lumion. The familiar setting, the customary boasting, and the vibrant ambience left Lumion feeling a bit tipsy, despite not imbibing much. If not for the mysticism catastrophe, if Auror were still alive, if he'd already entered university with no other concerns, wouldn't it be nice to just unwind at a bar? Sea travelers couldn't help but discuss pirates. Bartender Francesco informed Lumion, with the widespread use of ironclad warship technology on merchant vessels, it's become tough for pirates. Their sailboats can't match these iron-skinned monsters cruising at 16 to 17 knots. They can't plunder them even if they tried. Lowering his voice, Francesco continued, "Pirates' go-to strategy now is sending individuals disguised as passengers to board ships from different ports. Once they hit a designated area in the sea, they create internal chaos, gaining initial control and allowing a nearby pirate ship to close in. Is that so? Lumion inquired with interest. Any guesses on who might be an undercover pirate on this ship? Francesco was taken aback. It's just the first day, how can I tell? Lumion smiled, teasing. Ever been through something like this before?